30. 20. 15. 14. 13. 12.
This is Delta
11,
Mission Control
10,
at T-minus 10, 9,
8,
Sensor start.
7,
6,
5,
4, 3.
main engine ignition,
Main engine start. 0. Let's lift off.
and liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV rocket carrying WGS-4 for the United States Air Force. The wideband global SATCOM satellite provides significantly increased capacity to our joint warfighters and Australian international partner. You're hearing the voice of Steve Agate providing launch vehicle ascent data.
Good. Chamber pressures beginning to decline in the solid rocket motors as expected. "36 seconds, Mach 1. Vehicle now going transonic.
Vehicle has now reached Mach 1.
Very stable.
Delta IV
Chamber
rocket
pressure
is
in the main
traveling at the
engine.
speed of sound.
As we're passing 45 seconds into the flight. Coming up 50 seconds, Mark 50 seconds, max Q, maximum dynamic pressure in the vehicle. Altitude now passing 7 nautical miles. Passing the 1 minute mark. Solid burnout expected about 30 seconds from now. Altitude now coming up on 10 nautical miles. Velocity 3,485 feet per second. Downrange distance 6.9 nautical miles. 1 minute, 17 seconds in. Chamber pressure holding very well in the main engine. Passing 1 minute, 25 seconds. 10 seconds away from solid burnout. We should have burnout. Standing by for SEP. And we have separation. Before solid motors have separated from the vehicle. The Delta IV rocket only now weighs 1/2 of what it did at launch, expelling propellant at around 1,850 pounds per second. Coming up on the 2 minute mark.
This is Delta
Mark,
Mission
2
Control.
minutes into the flight.
L plus 2 minutes, 3 seconds into the flight. The Delta IV WGS-4 mission is 2 minutes into the flight. Steve Agate just confirmed jettison of the 4 solid rocket motors, and the mission is continuing as expected. Our next event is payload fairing jettison, scheduled to take place in less than 2 minutes from now. Let's go back to Steve Agate.
Good engine control on the first stage and pitch and yaw. Two minutes, 40 seconds in. Still looking good. Altitude 46 nautical miles. Velocity 8,679 feet per second. Downrange distance 75 nautical miles. Next major event is the separation of the payload fairing less than 30 seconds from now. Passing 3 minutes, 10 seconds. Altitude now passing 61 nautical miles. Good engine control in the first stage. Standing by for fairing SEP. And we have fairing separation. Three minutes, 40 seconds in. Altitude now 79.2 nautical miles. Velocity 14,012 feet per second. Downrange distance 166 nautical miles. Coming up on the 4 minute mark. At that time, we'll be toggling to the partial thrust mode. And we have the partial thrust command. Main engine chamber pressure decreasing to the partial thrust level. Standing by for MECO. And we have MECO. The main engine has cut off. Standing by for stage separation. And we have separation. The first and second stages have separated. The NED speed is increasing. The nozzle is beginning to deploy. Standing by for igniter spark. And we have igniter spark standing by for ignition, and we have ignition. Ignition on the second stage. Second stage chamber pressure beginning to rise. Good steady state value in the second stage. 4 minutes, 41 seconds in. Now beginning to recover
This is
nicely.
Delta Mission Control at L plus 4 minutes, 47 seconds. Mission elapsed time. The mission is continuing as expected. You just heard Steve Agate report the successful execution of the events comprising the early part of tonight's mission. The payload fairing was successfully jettisoned. The first stage main engine cut off. First stage was separated, and the second stage ignition began. We're now in the first of two planned second stage engine burns, and this burn will last just over 16 minutes, ending about 15 minutes from now.